We are celebrating on a new KSR rapid reaction after the Wildcats got the job done in Gainesville. None of us doubted, not at any point in the game. We knew they were going to get it done, winning 87-85. In all seriousness, that was an absolute thriller, a roller coaster of a ride. There's plenty to say about it. I'm Drew Franklin from KSR with Jack Pilgrim, Zach Gagan. Normally we're on the Rupp Arena floor, but conference play, I guess we got to get used to the StreamYard. Looks like Steven's dialed us up some good graphics. I feel underdressed for this production we got going on. But guys, quite an afternoon to start SEC play. Cats are 1-0, got the dub. Jack, I'll start with you. Do you want to focus on where it got good, or you want to get the first half out of the way?
I feel like we could kind of combine both, because Aaron Bradshaw, a tale of two halves, the guy that was virtually unplayable to start the game, a guy that, we really needed him. This was all about rebounding. Florida coming as the number one rebounding team in the nation, just kind of a no-go in that area. Ugo comes in and kind of outplays Aaron Bradshaw, and through 31 minutes of the game, you kind of think, well, Aaron Bradshaw might as well just kind of focus on Missouri next week. Let's move on. And then he comes out and goes for 10 points, 5 rebounds down the stretch, including the go-ahead three-point make at the top of the key with 1:30 to go. It's the greater picture of what this game means, that short-term memory. This team has the ability to look past early mistakes, little things that are going wrong for this team, and put things together down the stretch to win the game. It was an unbelievable effort all around, but down the stretch, Kentucky has dogs, and Aaron Bradshaw proved to be one of those guys among several of them.
You just took John Calipari's quote when he started his interview with Tom Leach. That was his first sentence. We got some dogs. And he certainly did. That Bradshaw shot was incredible, but Zach, let's be honest, when he lifted those arms to take it, were you a no, yes guy, or was that a shot you wanted there in that situation after, as Jack said, it wasn't the greatest start to the game for Bradshaw?
You don't have to believe me, but I thought that shot was going in. I don't know why I thought it was going in, but he had just come off that big rejection. It was like 20 seconds earlier where he shoved that Florida center shot pretty much straight back into the hardwood there. I think maybe it resulted in like a shot clock violation or whatever it was, but Kentucky ended up getting the ball back after Calipari had pretty much drawn up a play for him a few minutes earlier too, where he hit that baseline 18-20 footer, whatever it was, where he canned that one. That's when I said, okay, if he gets that shot off, it's going to go in. So I was feeling him. I was all for it. I had no reservations whatsoever. The whole time I thought Kentucky was winning this game from start to finish. I think we all did, Drew, even as well. But Bradshaw, massive, very, very good performance from him. I think he even had 2 steals as well. Like Jack said, got all of his rebounds down there at the end of the game. I thought his emotion that he was showing off, that's really what I like to see from Bradshaw when he gets real hype. You see his braces, the top and the bottom set there. He needs to add some sort of can you put gold on your braces or something like that to kind of trick him out a little bit? I think he needs to do that because he's deserved it at this point.
We'll call our friends Justice Dental about that. You mentioned we focus on the 3 because that was the biggest shot of the game, but that out of bounds play where he hit the jumper, I think there was about 5 minutes left, huge shot, and Calipari gave a gigantic fist bump for that.
Double fist pump.
Yeah, he loved it. I mean, he was already had the fist pump dialed up before Bradshaw even took the shot because he knew it was going in. We also got a good fist pump from Calipari when Reed Sheppard was just drilling free throws all in the last minute. What was it, 6 and 30 seconds? Mm-hmm. We saw a very visible reaction from John Calipari. He said in the postgame he doesn't love it when guys are dribbling around just waiting to get fouled. Maybe a little selfish there. So he tells them, if you're going to do that, I don't want 1 of 2. I want 2 of 2. I believe Reeves maybe had just missed front end a little earlier. Sheppard goes up there and drills those 6 free throws that essentially sealed the game. That the foul at the end, though, I mean, just a little more of the
freshman.
Yeah, just a little more of the heart attack that we were all having throughout that second half.
It was clean. It was clean. That was also kind of a theme.
To go for that.
That was kind of a theme for me, though, because he had already missed the front end of the 1-and-1. Just his response and resolve with this team. A 90% free throw shooter. He had already missed 2 free throws. He responds with 6 made free throws at the end, and just the stones on him to go up and try to block that shot. Again, don't do it. Just next time, let's hold off. There's no reason to do
Yeah.
it. But it was a clean block, and I looking back now that we know that it was a victory, I almost applaud the effort behind it. Like, just don't do it ever again. But it's like, man, it's the part of the greater picture of look at how this team responded down 11 with 2 minutes to go in the first half. That was just one of many plays that kind of defined that moment.
Yeah, Reed was just feeling himself a little bit. Also, all the other times they were fouling when they weren't supposed to foul, I can't remember such of a yes, no, yes, no. It was just driving me crazy. But they came out on top at the end. We were already 5.5 minutes into this recap and haven't mentioned DJ Wagner, who was absolutely awesome. Earlier in the year, it had to have just been, almost knocked a drink all over the place here, had to have just been the yips early in the season. He was getting the basket and it would just not go in. But today, let's see, 14 points, 6 of 10 from the field. Cal said on his post-game radio that DJ's a guy that he's going to have on the court every game. Other pieces can come and go how they're playing, but DJ and Trey Mitchell and even Antonio Reeves, I think he said, he's really relying on those guys. And DJ, he doesn't have the star power that Reed and Rob had right away, but just slow progression, and we really saw a great game from him today.
Yeah, I
Take over,
loved
Zach.
what we saw. Yeah, I loved what we saw from DJ, especially with he just felt like he had to get to the rim, and like you were saying, the shots that he was kind of missing earlier in the year, he was just making them today. He just had that extra half step to get around his defender to make that weird little up and under type scoop shot he does with his left hand. I know he had one turnover that had Steven nearly coming out of like my phone about to like punch me in the face for like, because it was probably, that's how upset he was. But to DJ's credit, he really locked in, played a great game. He's just someone that you, like you said, you just have to have him on the court. He is the dog that you say. So yeah, great game from DJ. Not a great game from Rob. It was just from the beginning, it really wasn't Rob's game. He just had some bad turnovers, some miscommunication issues with Bradshaw early on, and he just never really picked it up from there. But when you've got 4 really, really good guards, you can have a game where one of them playing. I mean, he was bad, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
Reed didn't play well really until kind of the end of the game there when he was asserting himself, trying to get himself to the line. And then you have Reeves, who we haven't talked about yet. He led the team in scoring. He had 19 points. So when you have all those guards together, you can have a guy like Rob have literally a flat out bad game and still come away with a win like this. So speaks to just kind of the overall roster building that Calipari has done with this team. And he's got some dogs, and DJ Wagner is the number 1 dog of all the dogs. He's the doggiest dog of all the dogs on the dog roster.
Bark, bark.
I intentionally didn't mention Reeves. It's just like the free bingo square in the middle at this point. He's getting his points. I mean, I think his prop was 17.5. That's another over. I didn't bet it, but those just keep cashing. What was it, 30 and 27 in the last 2 games before this one? Reeves is getting his buckets. We don't even have. That's not even a talking point. I will point out, also, I want to brag about this. I feel like I'm at Rupp. I printed out the box score. Look at this, guys. Look at
You have a printer?
Yeah, just found that out today too, and
Wow.
paper with ink. But while I have it up, leading up to this game, what did we hear about nonstop? Rebound, rebound, rebound. Florida still got them 43-40. We'll take that. But the offensive rebounds were limited. Trey Mitchell had 10 rebounds. Bradshaw had a good game with 7. Ugana could still do a little better in the department. He had 5. Still boxing out. Room to grow, but it's getting better after Calipari challenged them seemingly in his last 3 interviews. I think 90% of the talking points there were rebounding. So they've at least answered the bell a little bit there and continue to grow. Jack, with defense, is that going to grow with rebounding and everything else, or are we just kind of where we are with the perimeter D?
Yeah, I'll touch on that in just a second. But before we move on from Trey, I do want to add, I had heard leading up to this game, he was very questionable and kind of had a rough week where he got banged up a little bit. And he was always going to fight through and play through the pain. But for him going into this matchup, considering what it meant, the physicality and the rebounding and Florida having the size that it was kind of a make or break game for Trey Mitchell. Considering Adu Thero is out, considering the early struggles from Aaron Bradshaw, you kind of sort of had to have Trey Mitchell step up. And for him to do what he did considering how banged up he was and considering how sore and just tired. And I mean, dude is playing a ridiculous number of minutes, another 35-minute game for him. That dude never comes off the floor. And as a fifth-year senior, like, got to give props to him, man, because he just continues to be the most valuable X factor of this team. I don't know where this team would be without Trey Mitchell, but I'm very glad we don't have to answer that question. And I do think defense goes into it. And again, I think when you have a combined like 85 possessions, 90 possessions, or whatever it was with this team, you're going to get high scoring. And I think the defense overall was a lot better today than we had seen in the past. 68 shots. Florida took only 42.6% shooting and 29% from three. So a little bit better. Obviously, a lot of glaring mix-ups and leaving guys open for threes, especially in a lot of inopportune times. It feels like the defensive issues come at the most critical times, and it kind of exposes them for making it look worse than they actually are. So I think we are seeing slow progress, even though 85 points is 85 points. But I think we got to look closer at the possessions overall to tell the greater story that I do think that they are improving a little bit.
Yeah, I was just nitpicking there a little bit. I'll be honest. I did not feel good about this game at all. Just going into that arena with the sellout, this team wasn't challenged like they should have been on the road at Louisville. It was a true road game in the SEC, and we've seen so many good Kentucky teams go to anywhere in the SEC and play bad. So I worried about how the youth would react, but they handled it, took a punch, fought back. That's now 6 in a row in the O-Dome, which is absurd for a rivalry that's supposed to be close. When do we play the hard Floridas, right? Like, what is it in football? It's like 3 in a row in football.
I think 9-0 combined between basketball and football.
Gosh. Let's get them out of the SEC. Bring someone in that can compete. Bring
Noah back.
Not him. He's maybe the one person that did own Kentucky. 5-1 there, but big win for the Cats. 1-0 in conference. The young backcourt took a punch, proved they can play on the road and win. That's big moving forward for next Saturday, where they go to A&M, which will be another big challenge. But for right now, they got the win. First in the conference, control their own destiny. Big game for lots of guys across the board. And we love Bradshaw hitting that 3. Wagner taking another big step forward. Reed Shepherd proving he wants the ball for free throws. Lots of big steps forward today. So we're taking the win, even if it's 2 points. It's beating Florida, and we still own the O-Dome. We're going to sign off now. Thanks to everyone for commenting, even though we really didn't get to them. We got to get over. Matt's on the post-game show. We got to listen to him too. But we thank you for tuning in here. Subscribe, all those fun things. Zach and Jack, always love talking to you after the games. Now let's go do more writing. Find that stuff on KentuckySportsRadio.com, and go Cats.